Welcome back to Divided USA. Got a show for you. Buckle up. So many messed up things. You got Coast Guard and local authorities looking in the waters off the coast, trying to find missing children, people. It was at 111 the other day. Now it's at 115, confirmed dead. So many pictures of blockades, seeing that police are blocking streets so people couldn't evacuate Front Street. Over and over and over again, seeing temperatures that register higher than what would be a legitimate wildfire, winds at 60 to 80 miles an hour. I mean, just way, way too much going on. Check it out. Let's listen up.
What's up, YouTube? So we got some more that needs to be shared. So much more. For me, it's too much. I'm tired. I work a lot of hours. Get home late. Try to enjoy a couple few hours at home just to like chill. And but there's so much going on. Sometimes you got to put aside your personal peace because of the principle that you need to do what's necessary and invest the time that you need to. That requires sometimes an inconvenient truth and putting yourself in an uncomfortable, displaced situation, emotionally, mentally, and maybe not having the peace of mind, relaxation in the night that you want after work. Because you come across some things on the internet and find some things on YouTube, and or you're checking the highlights on some situations that are happening. For example, what's happening in Maui, and you say to yourself, okay, that doesn't make sense. Okay, that doesn't make sense. That stream seems strange. This, and the list keeps going. And you're like, okay, I just kind of like 10, 15, 20 things that like don't make sense, contradict logic, and then you have other things that contradict physics. When you look at the heat temperature for natural airborne fires that burn between 700 and 1,000 degrees, and then you see that there's evidence that there was high burning temperatures, well, that defies physics on a basic level of natural wildfire, quote unquote, airborne fires. If they're wildfires, then they shouldn't be burning higher than 1,000 degrees. They're typically between 700 and 1,000 degrees. That doesn't change. When you see aluminum melts at 1,200.
Residents are furious over the local government's response. You see, typically, when there's a fire, you use water to put it out. But Maui's Department of Land and Natural Resources delayed the release of water to landowners to help protect their property from the wildfire. In fact, they even disputed the release of water for hours after the West Maui Land Company made a request to release it. Maui survivors are even telling reporters they had to grab water out of their toilets to fend off the flames.
I was grabbing water out of the toilet. I was grabbing water out of my Brita filter in the refrigerator. It's a kind of disconcerting feeling when the fire guys show up and they don't have water.
According to the Deputy Director of the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Kaleo Manuel, water isn't a tool.
We've become used to looking at water as like something which we use and not necessarily something that we revere. But that's totally different in this Western capitalistic kind of economy that we live in. It's very extractive, individualistic approaches. Let water connect us and not divide us. Like we can share it, but it requires true conversations about equity.
Last time I checked, water puts out fires.
Seems to me that those tensions are there. People are a little antsy, and I think we just need to be a little bit more aware.
The Department of Defense spends about $1 billion annually developing directed energy weapons, such as high-energy lasers and high-powered microwaves. These weapons can disrupt or destroy their targets at the speed of light. For example, D.E.W has developed high-energy lasers that have successfully shot down drones, but speed isn't their only advantage. They're also less expensive per use than traditional weapons like guns and missiles. Despite those potential advantages, D.E.W has had trouble getting these technologies out of the lab and into service. The Army has developed a detailed transition plan to support moving these weapons into the next stages of development. We recommended that the Navy and the Air Force develop similar plans.
Makeshift roadside relief station sprouted, with locals taking charge after they say nobody came in the early days after the fire.
Maybe we'll do the next round with the deer meat and the chili. Yeah.
Hugs and help, smiles and supplies. Kapono Kong ran the grill, nourishing stomachs and souls with familiar island favorites.
That's pretty much what Hawaii is like it's we're all on this island together.
So I'm going to keep flip-flopping around here, peeps, just to kind of give you a broad spectrum of everything in between. The Navy in the United States has had direct energy weapons for decades, 20, 30 years that I'm aware of, at least more than 20. So it's not like the movies where you see a laser beam, pum, pum, Star Wars. That's not the way it works. It's an energy beam, so you can't see it. It's invisible to the naked eye. You can do your research on this. Everything I'm saying in this video can be verified. As always, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to this channel, just know that I don't post things unless I'm giving you evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. Direct energy weapons, I'm just saying could have been the cause. It doesn't mean that our government, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. I'm just saying it could have been China, could have been our government, could have been the powers that be that are using some covert military operating system like James Bond. I know how that sounds. Okay. You're like, oh, you watch a lot of movies. No, I'm just saying this technology does exist.
You're supposed to be able to get onto Front Street. And look at the fence they put up. This is where they were herding people in. This is where they herded people. This is where they started the Death Street murder. This is all a trap right here. You guys don't want us to see what's in there, huh? Yeah. Look at this. This is small street. Yeah. Yeah. Look at the fence. Look at the fence. Everybody. So you can't see. You guys don't see what's behind here. It's amazing they could even get that many supplies. Look at how long this island. Jimmy, this fence wasn't here. I don't even think they built it. They built it. Instead of looking for survivors, they built the fence. And look, they did it over here. This fence is new. This is a new fence.
And here is your president's response to a disaster like the one we see in Hawaii. Take a look at this.
Joe Biden's weakest moments in the midst of the Maui tragedy. Fires, over 100 people dead, countless still missing, and thousands of homes and businesses destroyed. The people of Maui need help, but the response of the president has been a disaster, says Sky News All-Star Megyn Kelly.
So our sitting president has been on vacation pretty much every other week. And his real job is a vacation too, because he only works about 4 hours a day, according to the White House aides. He's on duty from 10 to 4, and then Matlock's on and he's got to run. So he takes a vacation from all the tapioca pudding, and he goes to Rehoboth Beach, which is a beautiful beach in Delaware. He's hanging out there when Maui happens. Somebody happens to get him with his shirt off, and they say, Mr. President, you have a comment on the number of people dead. I mean, there are 115 people dead. They believe there's going to be scores of children who are dead in this thing, Paul. They're still missing almost 1,000. And he says, no comment. No comment. Like he's George Clooney walking out of the Oscars. You're not George Clooney. You're the president. One word. I don't care. You're on the beach. You say, oh my God, it's terrible. My heart goes out to them. My wife's heart goes out too. We'll be making a statement on it soon. I've got my people on it. Right? Something to show some heart. He gets asked to follow up another day. Similar response. Won't say anything. Would you want to say anything about the people of Maui? No. Okay. Then he gets shamed on his second back-to-back vacation. He goes from the beaches of Delaware to Lake Tahoe, one of the most beautiful and pristine places in the United States. It's on the border of Nevada and California. And he's staying at a billionaire's house out there, a big Democrat billionaire. He gets asked there, how about doing something for the people of Maui? Finally, he gets shamed into visiting Maui. Goes to Maui, not once, but twice. He makes his public remarks about himself, referring to how he knows what it's like. I'm saying 1,000 people could be dead here. You've got children dead from fire. And he says, I know what it's like. Our house almost burned down. My wife almost died. We pulled up the Associated Press report from 2004, said it was insignificant, said no one was in any danger, said it was a kitchen fire, which they got out almost immediately. And then President Biden has the nerve to say, almost lost my Corvette. No one gives a damn about your car.
Now, and with infrastructure that's down and information that's traveling slowly, Lahaina evacuees and many newly arrived at Ka'anapali hotels are sharing their stories. They're reacting to Maui County's version as well. And KITV4's Jeremy Lee has this story.
It is now day 8 of West Maui isolated. New arrivals at the hotels in Ka'anapali. evacuees who told me about the harrowing escape, the route that they had to take that was littered with downed power lines. We also now have our first timestamp for a sighting of a Maui Fire Department unit in the afternoon. That's 4:47 p.m. at the Tamura's industrial complex. The ladies I spoke with said their cell service was out in the early morning Tuesday.
The last thing I heard on the phone was the fires are contained. The fires are out in Lahaina.
Because we thought it wasn't that bad. They made it seem like it wasn't bad.
Look how long I stayed in my house.
How did you,
still in my house.
How did you all get out?
When it was like, it looked like that, and I was still in my house, because I still didn't think that it was possible for my house to burn down. I still didn't think it was possible for my house to burn down.
Mom, I think we should think about leaving. And she was like, I think it's just up the hill. I'm like, okay, because they usually get it condemned.
Yeah, I was like, they would have told me if it was a problem.
That's why I was so scared. I was like,
it looked like this, and I was like, well, I don't think I need to leave yet. It looked like that.
Yeah, and I didn't know that Lahaina was on fire. I thought the hill was on fire. By the new...
And I was like, this looks pretty nuts. This looks pretty crazy.
That's all I
And it hadn't jumped over yet. Tamura's wasn't on fire yet. And then that caught on fire.
Where did you get these pictures?
That was my balcony. That was my balcony.
How did you guys get home?
Dude, then I came out to the front, but I had gone back inside even after this to bang on my friend's door because she couldn't even hear me banging. She's out. She did get out, but the winds changed. Right after I left, the winds changed because she got smoke inhalation so bad that she was hallucinating and couldn't drive. She had to pick up a hitchhiker to drive her and her 4 kids out through the smoke.
See, we weren't that close. My sister, we were so lucky.
And then they were
has turned to anger for some residents tonight after national news reports saying FEMA workers have turned the tragedy into a vacation. Our Jelani Martinez joins us now with the details.
Steph, those reports came out just yesterday on Fox News and the Daily Mail. Evacuees say it's upsetting to see photos of federal employees in 5-star resorts, knowing homes in Lahaina were burned to the ground.
FEMA booked themselves in the 5-star luxury Hawaiian resorts.
These photos making national news headlines, calling attention to FEMA workers on Maui in what appears to show them relaxing in 5-star hotels. At the cocktail bar and at a registration desk at the Grand Wailea, another photo shows FEMA workers on their laptops at the Fairmont Kealani. It's rubbing devastated Lahaina residents the wrong way as they deal with the deaths of more than 100 people and a historic community wiped out.
I mean, I feel sick.
Dustin Kaleopu lost his home in the Lahaina fire.
So they're seeing government employees or government volunteers staying in these luxury accommodations, being funded by taxpayers. That's where a lot of the frustration comes from.
A FEMA official we spoke with does not deny they are staying at 5-star hotels and that taxpayers' money is paying for lodging for employees and survivors, but says it's not what it looks like.
FEMA personnel and responders are not here on vacation. We're all here for the residents of Maui and the survivors of this terrible incident.
Daryl Habish says instead of the $1,000 a night rate, FEMA is paying hotels the government rate of $345 a night. Whatever the cost, political analyst Colin Moore says these are difficult times.
It's jarring to see these images of the people who are there to help staying in these luxurious surroundings.
I cut the hole through here. Grabbed my fucking bolt cutter. You know what I mean? I grabbed the bolt cutter, came over here, chop. You know, I'm not going that way. I'm going this way. These guys were the fire people were going, okay, down here, and there's flames going all over it. I go, fuck that. I ain't going that way. They go, you know another?
But you went back in and like didn't come back out. And there was no other escape. Through the water. Because he went back in.
I think
We weren't the first in the water, but we were some of the first. I think like the first 5. There was us 3 and then like another family. It was just crossing the street. Things were starting to light on fire right behind us. Like the only way to go was in the water.
That seems like a very last-ditch effort.
Absolutely.
Found another one where I put my bag, and that's just about it. I just had my shirt and my pants.
And you had a mask or clothes or whatever?
Yeah.
You don't see people mentioning children. There's maybe 2 places I scanned through the whole thing. We do need a column there for date of birth. We need a column for sex, and a column for children. Something that we can start to identify that. But I believe there's a very simple, organized way to gather this information. But I am looking specifically for your feedback. If you're here on Maui, if there's a way you can comment, if there's a way you can reach out to me, we want to talk to parents or anybody that's missing a child and find out what on my notes. How could a transmission case melt in a fire that's considered a wildfire? How can you get temperatures that are that high? I've had many ex-firemen call me, many guys that are just, they're in the fire business. That just seems like a very high temperature. I don't know a lot about fire. I never thought I'd try to, but if you have any insight into that and how these temperatures are important, why the color blue is becoming...
The harbor area that was closed off. The entire shoreline was closed off by the Coast Guard the day after, the evening of the incident. And so no searches underwater anywhere within a 5-mile area was started. So on Saturday, we began searching, utilizing rescue and dive crew from Honolulu. They were able to search using a dry suit, full face mask, fully encapsulated with underwater comms. And they were able to clear the harbor, within the harbor confines and just outside the harbor, of any potential human remains. There are still areas within the harbor, within the vessels that may be overturned or piled on top of each other, that are still in the harbor, that still potentially could have human remains. And so those areas have not been cleared by fire department personnel.
All the side roads because people had driven down into Lahaina and were walking on everything. National Guard is busy. Our police officers are stretched so thin, trying to help in Lahaina and also maintain the other towns on this island. Fire department still battling hot spots up the mountain and also trying to help in Lahaina. We had firefighters already come from Honolulu. Our government has not deployed any military assistance, and they are a 30-minute flight away. There is no one here. Everything that has been organized by local residents and the community. People volunteering their boats and bringing supplies over to a boat ramp on that side, setting up a supply station on that side, food trucks closing their food truck and donating their generators so that people on that side could have power. People taking off of work to volunteer. Nurses volunteering over there on their days off. The community has done everything here. The people on the west side were waiting for help. It's been a week. No help has arrived. That's what's happening on Maui, okay? The people in Lahaina had no warning about the fire, and it burned everything in a matter of 2 hours. We have a tsunami warning system on this island. They did not activate it. They sent out the warning system through the phones, and there was no service and no power. Nobody got the warnings. They closed school on Tuesday for children because the winds were too high and it was knocking down the poles. Children were home on Tuesday, a lot of them probably without their parents who were at work. And those children didn't know what to do. That's what happened here, okay? Elderly centers not evacuated.
people being in the water waiting to be rescued from 3 p.m. until 2 in the morning by the Coast Guard. The people on the west side are exhausted, okay? People have been volunteering around the clock to help get people supplies and organize things over there, and they need help. I don't know what the government's plan is, but right now, they're not doing anything.
In another embarrassing blow, the president appeared to fall asleep during a memorial for the victims.
We are a community that relies on family, on ohana, whether by blood or by friendship. But like many others, my son's home on ohana, whether by blood or by friendship. But like many others, my son's home.
Have a look. Brian Shantz, our senator, Senator Maisie. By the way, Maisie, I told my granddaughter, whose name is Maisie as well. She said, that's why I like her. Anyway, but her name is Maisie as well. And Jill Takuda, Representative Ed Chase, and Mayor Rick Basson. Rick, when we talked on the phone, you look like you played in defensive tackle for, I don't know who, somebody good.
Yeah, he looked like he played defensive tackle for somebody good. If we just show the White House transcript up here, they've had to correct all the names he got wrong and everything. I mean, it's just getting worse, isn't it?
FEMA, the Red Cross, and the military all on the ground.
I can tell you it's going to be a long and costly recovery, but much of that work will be done here with our local people.
And watch as this security camera captures what could be an early trigger in that devastating wildfire. August 7th at 10:47 p.m., a day earlier. You hear a witness describe a flash that might be a tree falling on a power line.
It's windy, and then there's a flash, and I think that's when a tree's falling on a power line. The power goes out.
One expert saying those videos taken in upcountry Maui show the flames spreading and may be the first evidence of downed power lines igniting a fire.
And we've got that video of that kind of explosion, and we've got 10 sensors in that community that show a very sharp drop in electrical voltage at precisely that same time.
Power line just went down.
By the next morning, August 8th at 6:37 a.m. in Lahaina, Shane True uses a garden hose to battle a fire.
That's the power line that started from up the road there, and all of that is still burning.
Authorities declaring that brush fire under control around 9 a.m., but then lost control of the flames hours later when the winds caused a flare-up to spread. By 5 p.m., Lahaina's historic Front Street up in flames. The power company saying it is still investigating what triggered the fire, adding the cause has not been determined. The loss weighing heavy.
The warning system on Maui is one of the most advanced and maintained warning systems on Earth. Residents are accustomed to monthly tests, but on the day of the fire, no sirens went off. There were no warnings. The director in charge of this warning system was at a FEMA disaster seminar in Oahu as the fires were devastating the people of Maui.
At the same time, people were running for their lives, trying to escape flames that engulfed the town.
When asked if he regretted not sounding the alarm, he said no, because he was worried that the people would run into the fire.
Do you regret not sounding the sirens?
I do not.
But instead, they burned to death at home, including an untold number of children who were home alone that morning because of a school cancellation. The water wasn't on. Fire hydrant deputy director of water resource management, who was named an Obama Foundation leader, refused to release water for the West Maui fires until it was too late. He says that in order to share water, Hawaiians need to discuss equity.
Really, my motto is always like, let water connect us and not divide us. Like we can share it, but it requires true conversations about equity.
Without any warnings and without any water, the people tried to flee, but they were stopped by the police, who had orders to keep people from escaping.
I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm under orders to keep them here." And I said, "The fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here." And he said, "I'm following orders."
No way.
And so I just kept walking. Well, maybe he knows something I don't.
The Maui chief of police was the incident officer at the 2017 Las Vegas shootings.
No comment?
No comment right now, guys.
No comment? I'm talking to the chief, sir. Yeah. Why doesn't he want to speak to the people? Only to a camera.
Residents are not allowed to leave unless they get a permission slip from the federal government. But the government recently decided to shut that option down. The federal government offers a one-time payment of $700 to each family that has lost their home. And the governor of Hawaii tells reporters that the state plans on acquiring the land.
I'm already thinking about ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or to make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial to people who were lost.
And if it wasn't for the local community, the survivors would be left alone to die in the ashes of their...
So let's recap right quick. The main 3 questions, or 10 questions, let's start with 3. Number 1, how did the fire start? How did the fire start? Was it arson? Was it just an accident where allegedly some power pole fell down? I showed you the videos where it created that white burst explosion. Could have been a power line. I don't know. Number 2, why isn't the government talking about the real death count? That might even be number 1. Why are they not talking about it? And number 3, why were those fires burning so hot? Above what physics demands for a natural wildfire. Why were those temperatures hotter than what a wild, quote-unquote, wildfire burns? Those would be the top 3. What started the fire? Number 2, why is the body count being downplayed? Government not trying to do much. Number 3, fire is burning hotter. I'd say number 4, why were the police blockading areas to not let people out? And number 5, no water being available. I mean, we can keep going down the list. Number 6, I would say, would be, why didn't the emergency broadcast system go off? Why didn't the sirens go off? Number 7. Number 8, how about, why did the power company keep the electricity on? Number 8, 9, 10, why is the government fighting over water? What's that all about? What really is going on? I found out that freaking Mark Zuckerberg owns 700 acres. Wow. Well, what can we say? It's like the evidence keeps mounting over and over again. You know, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a duck, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you, for me, when I see the simplicity of so many different aspects of this situation that demands there is, some say coup, some say conspiracy, you can call it whatever you want to call it. The fact remains, there is a scheme for more than just a land grab and political power in Hawaii, in Maui, and Lahaina. It's just one of those things where you look at it from afar and you feel victimized, even though you don't live there. My heart and my spirit is with these people, and you know, I'd be happy to drop what I'm doing and go down there and volunteer. Of course, I got to pay rent, but at the same time, like, I'm with these people, because if it happened to them, it could happen to anybody. And at the end of the day, I just think it's just really, really sad that there's so many things that the government is not acknowledging, FEMA's not doing. It's, you know, God bless those people that are sticking together out there, that are, you know, the food trucks and local food banks and clothing donation, people passing out water. You know, just, I mean, see the food truck community just out there. I remember watching the video about it 5-6 years ago. Now I'm hearing about a land grab with the World Economic Forum, that they want to build smart cities in the same areas where those fires took place. I mean, like I said, we can start with that top 10 easy right there. I mean, is it just me? Is anybody else paying attention? What the... it's hours and hours and hours of testimonials when you combine it all. And I tried to squeeze it all into 30 minutes here, and there's still so much more. I'm going to do another segment later on this week. So we're going to have to keep an eye on it. You know, when I see what FEMA's doing, it reminds me of what happened in Hurricane Katrina. 5 days later, thousands of people dead. They roll in. Not much for relief when it comes to government services. You know, I'm just really, really disappointed in this administration, this government, and there's no surprise there. I just think it's really, really sad. But God bless the people on the ground, first responders and local community and people that are looking out for their own. That's what it's all about. Much respect to y'all. I'm going to continue to stay focused on this issue and post more video and spread the word to help to create more awareness and justice for the victims and the survivors of Maui Lahaina fires 2023. Thank y'all. Please stay tuned for more. I'll check you all in the next video. Please like and share this video.